to speak slower so I can get credit.
I thought it was great though. You were like, I can't get this. Credit with friends. That's good. Get that out of the picture this time.
Hi, this is Marcus Bruno with Bruno Real Estate, and I'm here with Chris Bridges of creditwithchris.com. And this is our second video together. The first time we talked about credit challenged borrowers, but this time we're going to talk a little bit about those in my client database that have great credit, and what do they need to do to maintain that credit?
Well, thank you again for inviting me back. It's good to see you and to be with you. And I'm excited again to be able to share with your clients. It's important that no matter where our credit profile or our credit score is, that we either build it to where it's good and we get more options, because that's what that's what credit does, right? Leveraging good or great credit gives us more options. But it's also important, if we have good credit, to be able to know the things to do to keep it. And so it's just as important to build it or to maintain it. So thank you very much for inviting me back and to be with you today. I appreciate it. One of the things we want to talk about, the importance of maintaining good credit, is, and we shared before about where to get the credit report from, annualcreditreport.com. And that's not just for people who have challenged credit. You can, of course, get an additional report if you've been denied for credit. But it is equally as important for someone who has quote-unquote good credit to be able to monitor their credit at least once a year. As you know, over 9 million people are victims of identity theft. Wow. 9 million per year. Identity theft is the largest white-collar crime. And so if we have no idea what's on our credit report, we don't know if we already own a few more houses. We could be driving around in cars. We can have a lot of things going on our credit report, and we have no idea. And it's very important because we don't sign permission slips for creditors to report things about us, nor for the credit bureaus to report things about us. So we better know what they're saying, right? Because if we don't look at our own credit reports, we have no idea what's being said about us. So not only identity theft could happen, but 80% of errors are made on consumers' reports. So it is important that we're monitoring and reviewing our credit report to make sure that we're not falling victim to any of those things.
Yeah, I was told that the credit reporting industry is not very user-friendly. And so that's why we need people like you who have some awareness and insight into credit reporting. Now, let's say I do check my credit report and there's a mistake. What do I do? Who do I contact for that?
So, as a consumer, there's 3 ways that you can contact the credit bureaus. And it's funny you said that it's not a user-friendly. The credit bureaus do not work for us. They are not nonprofits or consumer advocates, right? They're multi-billion-dollar companies. And they're in business to report information. Now, by law, if they're called to on the carpet, they're supposed to make sure that information is correct. But if we don't know what's on our report, and we're not then opening up or we're challenging them, then they're going to report whatever they're being told, right? And so if we find that there's a mistake, there are 3 things that a consumer can do. A consumer can pick up the phone and call the credit bureaus. Good luck getting through. They can also go online to the credit bureau's websites directly, and they can open up an investigation. Now, you have to have had a report directly from that bureau in order to do that. And then what also happens, if you open up an investigation or dispute online, you forfeit your rights to have ongoing challenges. So in other words, when you open up that dispute, the credit bureaus you have one-time shot. They're going to come back and either verify it or possibly delete it. But that's it. You can't go back to them again. So the third and the best way for a consumer to open up an investigation with the credit bureaus is by mail. Because by mail, you can track the correspondence. And regardless of what they say, you can go back to them again until that issue has been resolved. So that's the best way to do it. By phone, by online through the website, or by mail. My strong recommendation is always by mail. And if you're not comfortable understanding that process, contact someone that can help you.
Well, I was just about to say that because, my most successful clients, they tell me they need to save time. And so if they could just call
Yeah.
someone who can help them, and then, so you provide that service.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
You know, I say to people, what I do is not anything, you know, that you can't do yourself. Like now we can self-diagnose ourselves. We don't even have to go to medical school, right? You can go to WebMD and all
Oh,
these
yeah.
places online.
Mhm.
We can almost represent ourselves in a court of law if you want to do that, because a lot of the content and the information is available to us online. But do you want to do that?
Mhm.
So that's the question.
Can you do it?
Can you do it? Do you want to do it? That's why
Right.
service providers such as myself are here to help.
Great. Now, I know that, you know, if I have good credit, you know, we're not gonna talk about my credit, but
Pull out the report now.
let's just say, you know, I've had great credit history for the last couple of years,
Right.
and I miss a payment or two.
Right.
Is that gonna have a big effect on my credit?
That's one of the biggest questions, or the most common questions that are asked by me, by people who have good credit. And because we kind of think it's like a bank, we can make all these deposits. So every month I'm paying my bills on time. For years and years, I've made deposits. So one little payment that's late, it's one withdrawal. It
Right.
can't really affect my credit, right?
No,
We think
shouldn't.
that way. Well, unfortunately, the better the credit profile is, the worse impact it is when you have a late payment. And so you're hit harder. For instance, you could be late on a car payment and lose 100 points. I've seen it happen. One late payment, one car. And you may not see, say your next door neighbor who's had challenges, maybe some hardships, loss of income, something like that, and they have been late a couple of months. They're not going to lose that same 100 points. So actually, someone with starting out with good credit or better credit could potentially have a bigger impact on their credit score with one derogatory reporting. See, payment history is 35% of our score. And so when you have good credit, don't think you got to buy,
Okay.
right? It's still equally, if not more important, for you to pay your bills on time. And make sure that you're paying the bills that report to the credit bureaus, not necessarily all your bills. So what people don't understand is maybe I've got a little budgeting issue this month, and I've got a choice of paying my utility bill or my wireless bill or that Visa card that's reporting on the credit bureau. You want to pay that Visa card. And I always ask this question in my workshops, and I get about 50-50 people will say, they say, I want to keep utilities. I got to keep my kids warm or cool in the summer. The reality is that your utility bill, they won't shut you off, right, from
Right.
one late payment.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I kind of know that. Maybe,
No, they
possibly know that.
They
you know,
won't.
they won't shut you off. But that credit card company will report you late,
Okay.
and it has an impact. So you always want to pay the accounts that are actually reporting on your credit report first. And then, now I'm not saying don't go and say Chris said I don't have to pay Pepco,
Right.
Because you will get shut off.
Mhm.
But this is a strategy to make sure that people know to get their things paid on time.
Great. And Chris, can you let us know what's the best way to contact you in case we have any questions about credit or we need your credit repair services?
Sure, absolutely. Please contact me. And for your client base, anyone that's listening to this video that's attached to you, we're going to do something very special. We're going to offer a free assessment. So it's important to kind of know where we are, right? And even people who have good credit, I recommend that they still contact us because we may see some things that they don't see, or we may give them some recommendations and tips. Like I'm going to give you the big tip right now. Credit card balances should never be more than 30% of the limit, regardless of where your credit score is. So that's one thing that people don't understand. They think they have like the full limit to charge up on their credit cards. And so we'll do a free assessment. They can contact us on the website at www.creditwithchris, and Chris is spelled CHRIS. We're also all over social media at Credit with Chris. You can also download our mobile app on Android or Apple at Credit with Chris or Chris Bridges. Again, register for the free assessment. That's the first step to get started on the journey to good credit.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you
I
again.
appreciate you coming out and giving us so much great information. This is Marcus Bruno signing off. Have a blessed day.
Bye.
Great.
There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Excellent.
That was longer, I think. Huh?
that was 9 minutes.
Was it?